pull up to the Twitch. This is where you can watch everything live and interact with chat. Link down below. But I would say my favorite cartoon is like, I don't know, bro. Probably something. Yeah, it has to be Adventure Time. The regular show's up there for sure. But when after they went to space, it was just like, man, what the freak. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm waiting for that remake for Adventure Time. The Lost Files or something. I forgot what it's called. That and the remake for Adventure Time, too. The remake for Amazing World of Gumball was cool. Alright, but we have what cartoon characters who hide their faces look like. Now listen, only characters I really think about when I don't see their face is like the Powerpuff Girls, the assistant for the Powerpuff Girls, and I think Tom and Jerry.
Do you remember those cartoons where you had to tilt your head almost 180 degrees just to get a glimpse of a character's face?
The same thing twice?
But you still couldn't?
I'll just cut it out.
Personally, I even thought the TV wasn't big enough, but apparently it was just the producers creating a mystery on purpose for different reasons. At some point, we got 3-second face reveals, or sometimes had to dig through movies, action figures, and anniversary specials just to catch a glimpse of these hidden characters. They were very easy to miss and forget about, but finding their real faces back then felt like a huge discovery and got me really excited. That's why I put them all together in this video. And
who's the guy in the suit? What cartoon is he from?
These hidden faces. Starting with Tom's owner in the original Tom and Jerry shorts, Mammy Two Shoes. I always wondered why she was only shown from the waist down in every single appearance. All we saw were those worn-out slippers and apron. And props to the producers for making it work. So much so that she appeared in 18 other cartoons like Puss Gets the Boot, The Bowling Alley Cat, Baby Puss, and Springtime for Thomas, and became one of the most recognizable characters in the franchise, despite having no clue what she actually looked like. But we got to see her face in some very rare Tom and Jerry shorts like Time Pal, Mouse Cleaning, and Saturday Evening Puss. And every single time, it was so short that you could miss it if you weren't paying full attention. Seriously, I remember watching Saturday Evening Puss, but I only found Mammy Two Shoes was in it years later when someone pointed it out.
I'm not gonna lie, when I hear Mammy Two Shoes, she remind me of chat. I don't know. Wait, hold on, chat. You know the bottle syrup is like something. They changed the name of it now. They changed the name number of it now. It used to be like it used to be Auntie Syrup or something. I don't know, but it used to have like a old black woman on the syrup. I think it's like a windmill now, a water mill now, but it has like a old black woman on the syrup, and that's what I think of. That's what I think she looks like to me. When I hear her name, that's what I think. Is that racist?
Anyway, there's a theory that the show producers only showing her from the waist down was less about being mysterious and more about reducing her identity as a black woman. That's a big speculation, by the way, but it's not totally far-fetched given the reputation of the Hollywood writers, specifically that 1940s era. What we do know for sure is that by 1953, she was scrubbed out of the series after massive protests about the racial undertone, and the white couple that replaced her had their faces shown on camera from day one.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty clear indicator that there's always a solid reason for characters not having faces. That's why it was hard for me to understand why Kenny McCormick from South Park had that orange parka on 24/7 that covered his entire face and only left his eyes exposed. This kid practically died in every single episode for 5 straight seasons, and these were high-impact deaths, like getting hit by buses, getting blown up, crushed by space stations. You'd think that with all that force, the hood would fly off at least once, right? I paid attention to every single episode, trying to catch
the PC,
something.
order another one
Friday
Friday or
held his head
Monday.
Still through death after death, and we had to go through 2 full seasons before we finally
What does Kenny look like, chat? I know Kenny look like.
First time we see Kenny's full face is in the 1999 South Park movie, Bigger,
Oh,
Longer,
shit.
and Uncut, when Kenny sacrificed his life to save the world from an apocalypse led by Satan alongside Saddam Hussein.
Yo, Kenny used to get murked, bro.
Convinced him that Saddam was using him, and when Satan finally stood up for himself and won, he offered Kenny one wish as a thank you. Kenny used it to undo the
never watched this movie.
Apocalypse and send everyone back to normal, knowing full well it meant going back to hell. Because of that sacrifice,
oh my
he was
God,
admitted into heaven instead. That's when he pulled his hood off and said goodbye to his friends for the
Does that matter? I gotta blur it out on YouTube. On Twitch, I think I can show that. But on YouTube, I can't show that.
first time in his actual voice and ascended up to heaven. Kenny was blonde. That was it. Just a regular blonde kid under a hoodie. I can't lie, it was a bit of a letdown, because I thought he was hiding something under the hoodie, and that would have made the big reveal a lot more special. But wow, it is what it is. Producers later admitted that hiding Kenny's face was a deliberate choice because seeing his actual face would make his deaths feel real and sad rather than funny. And it makes sense, because the moment you see him terrified without the hood, it stops being a joke and becomes a child dying. After the movie, we see him without his hood a handful of times across the series. In The Tooth Fairy's Tats 2000, when he gets yanked out of his hoodie, in Super Best Friends, when a cult shaved everyone's heads, and briefly in You're Getting Old singing Happy Birthday to Stan. The great part about Kenny, though, is
he thought so. He didn't want to agree because his lady in chat.
Outline of his face and his eyes, so they could picture him a bit. The producers of Powerpuff Girls didn't even give us an option to guess what Miss Cerebellum looked like because the cameras were always cut off above her neck. Every single time she walked
in I'm not gonna lie, Cerebellum, I'm not gonna lie, chat. Let's be honest. You know, the first time Bangarang, yo, chat, y'all know what Bangarang is? Or that's what it was called? Boomerang. It was called Boomerang. Bro, the first time Boomerang, you know about Boomerang? Bro, the first time Boomerang came up on my TV, bro, I was like, and Powerpuff Girls, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, chat. Like, now listen. I'm gonna name out 3. Her, she go, Kim Pop. No. Her, she go. Yeah, I'll say Kim. Dexter's mom. Nah, I don't know. I'll say those 2.
Frame, something was blocking the shot. A door frame, her own hair, a filing cabinet appearing out of nowhere at exactly the right moment. Like, hello, can we just see her face? The craziest part is that everyone in the show kept telling us how beautiful she was. The whole city was obsessed with Miss Bellum's looks while we were sitting there imagining their view. It got so bad that fans actually started making things up, like the reason we couldn't see her full frame was because the show put us in the mayor's perspective the whole time, a man who only ever paid attention to her body and never her face. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense as a theory.
W-theories.
Craig McCracken came out and said the actual reason was way simpler than anyone expected. Miss Bellum is so tall and the mayor is so short that framing them together naturally cuts her face out of shot every single time. It was basically just a camera angle thing that accidentally became one of the biggest mysteries in cartoon history. All that theory laid to rest because the man wasn't up to 6 feet tall. Justice for my short kings, though. Anyway, the writers finally decided to give us something in the 10th anniversary special. We got to see one of her eyes, which was even closed, her rounded chin, and some red lips.
Yo, you know what she kind of looked like? She like the fish from Fishtails. Shark Tales. You like the fish from Shark Tales.
Stick before the camera moved away. At the time, we didn't appreciate this scene. We just played it off with the hopes that we would get a full face reveal eventually.
Boo?
Newsflash, it never came. So we're holding on to that one eye and the chin really tight. If you close your eyes and imagine hard enough, you should be able to make out something nice from them. Just like I'm doing right now.
AI.
Dr. Claw, though? That man didn't even give us an arm to work with. Well, actually, he did. Literally just an arm, and that was the whole character for years. All we ever saw was his metal-gloved fist slamming a desk, his cat Mad Cat sitting beside him, and that deep, terrifying voice barking orders while Penny and Brian foiled his plans from a few feet away. So we literally had to imagine his
y'all watched this cartoon before? Or nah?
And that harsh voice had everyone convinced that this man looked like Darth Vader or something mechanical and monstrous. We literally imagined the most dramatic face possible, and the internet was buzzing to see his real face. The producers saw it and decided to make a cool cash off the demand by dropping a toy line in 1992. They covered his face on the packaging with a cardboard sticker that said, "Reveal the mysterious Dr. Claw. His villainous face has never been seen before," and printed it in English and French. Everyone rushed to buy the toy for $10, except me, of course. I hadn't been born yet.
W marketing.
But it wasn't anything close to what we expected.
That nigga like Dr. Bean Boxed, bro. Dr. Egg Box Ugglad. But he's like, I'm not gonna lie, he looked like the live action version of Egg. Dr. Egg. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Sean, if he was white. Yo, can we ban this guy? Yo, send him home. Take him home.
The OG, what I ordered versus what I got. Turns out Dr. Claw actually looks more like me than a Doomsday or Voldemort. Everyone went, "Are you
Loki like a Voldemort?
Are we seriously looking at the angry-looking older man with a crooked eye?" I don't know if the producers didn't think it through properly before releasing, but it was definitely
they could have made him look cool, like with
that's the thing with these faceless characters.
Oh no,
they had so much aura without a face on. Revealing their face was a huge gamble. But just when you think face reveals can't get more underwhelming, you got someone like Father from Codename Kids Next Door. He was the main.
Oh my God, what did Father look like?
And for most
I'm pretty sure. Did he show his face?
A black silhouette of a man with sharp, angular features, a pipe, and a pompadour. We literally hated.
Yo, if you really think about it, Kids Next Door was just disobedient kids that were just imagining all these future technology in a treehouse versus the adults that are trying to get them to act right. If you really think about it, bro, the adults were just trying, like him, he was just trying to make the kids act right. You know what I'm saying? Because they were bad as shit. They were up in the treehouse doing all type of shit.
Someone we couldn't see, just a dark outline that could set himself on fire whenever he got angry. The silhouette made him feel like something genuinely beyond normal cartoon villains, and we couldn't wait to see the demon behind it. Only to find out in Operation Zero, the series movie, that Father was just a completely regular-looking man in a costume, and he's the brother of Number One's father and therefore Number One's own uncle. Finding out he had been terrorizing his family for that long exposed that it was beyond regular evil and taking over the world for him.
Nah, he had
more about being.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. He had way more aura than he had way more aura being all shadowed out game. I'm not gonna lie, bro. They miss out on making these characters so tough, but I understand when you're younger, it's a kid TV show, it's a cartoon. You want to make them look goofy after you just made them look all tough and evil and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Jealous of his brother Monty and trying to destroy his legacy. Speaking of silhouettes and shadows, isn't it crazy that the Garmadon we saw for most of Ninjago wasn't even his original form? So you probably never saw him in his youth. Before the darkness took over, Garmadon was actually a good man. He was devoted to his family and trained alongside his brother Wu. Then he got bitten by the Great Devourer, a serpent from the Overlord that had specifically corrupted and sent after him to use Garmadon as a vessel for his own return. That bite slowly changed everything. He grew 4 arms, his eyes turned red, dark armor replaced everything he used to wear, and his voice got terrifying. And that's the version we see throughout the show. The only times we see his original human form is in flashbacks. He's a normal-looking man with brown hair, same face structure as Wu. Just watching young Garmadon playing alongside Wu and then cutting back to the 4-armed shadow villain is genuinely one of the biggest wow moments in the show, because the face was always there, just buried too deep under the venom. When Lloyd finally defeated the Overlord and the darkness was purged from Garmadon, we see him again, but he's already old with gray hair. It's a really sad story because this villain everyone spent seasons fearing turned out.
If you really think about it, bro, you let the evil get to you too much, bro. You let the negativity get to you too much, bro. It's really a deeper meaning into it. You know, I'm really tapping into my third eye. Yeah, I promise you, I did not smoke yet. Listen. Bro, it's just the evil get to you. Don't let the negatives get to you. You feel me? And the darkness won't take over. That's basically what the backstory on what really going on with. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't hearing it though. Y'all ain't trying to hear it though.
He's someone who had been fighting the darkness inside himself the whole time and losing. Now next on the list is actually a double mystery. The producers of Ed, Edd and Eddy had us enjoying a show with 2 faceless characters. It doesn't even make sense. Double D wore a black ski hat the entire run of the show and never took it off. Not once. And the few times it accidentally slipped off or got lifted, the reactions from Ed and Eddy were genuinely disturbing. Eddy shouted, "My eyes, they burn!" And Ed looked at Double D's head and asked, "Does it hurt?"
Bald like 3 strands.
Does it hurt? That is not how you react to seeing your friend's normal hair. There was definitely something under that hat, and whatever it was bad enough to leave these 2 kids shocked. The voice actor himself suggested at a convention that Double D might be part of a conjoined twin set that went horribly wrong. There was even a deleted scene from the series finale movie that was going to show a scar on his head, but it got cut. The creators took that secret to the grave, so we'll never know. R.I.P. to that storyline. But thank God we at least got Eddy's brother. For the entire run of the show, Eddy talked about his older brother like the man was a living legend. A genius prankster, the coolest person alive, someone the whole neighborhood was apparently terrified of. His room was nailed and chained shut. Even the Kanker sisters went quiet when his name came up. We spent years imagining what this man looked like and whether he was everything Eddy said he was. The 2009 series finale movie finally took us there. The Eds crossed town and found him living in a whale-shaped trailer at an amusement park. When he stepped out, he looked exactly like an older Eddy. Same big chin and goatee. Same DNA written all over his face. And for the first few seconds, it seemed like everything Eddy said was true. He looked calm and cool until he grabbed Eddie without any warning and started beating
Holy
him up in front
shit.
of everyone, throwing him around,
Damn.
talking down on him like he was nothing. The whole neighborhood had
Damn.
spent years in awe of someone who had been breaking his little brother down since childhood. This is the moment we see that everything annoying about Eddie through the entire series, the scams, the ego, the desperate...
Chat, damn. Eddie was just trying to be like Big Bro. Big Bro bullies him, so he just wanted to be just like him. If you really thinking about it, bro, it's a deeper meaning into this, bro. It's a deeper meaning, bro.
Need to be liked all came from growing up trying to earn the approval of his brother. This reveal was very important for the single reason of clearing that out. Next, we have Satoshi Nakamoto of Townsville, Wizard Kelly. He was the richest man in the Proud Family universe.
That was
an
such a
eccentric
glaze.
billionaire who appeared regularly
bro.
throughout the series, but was always shown from the chin down.
They
Sometimes
showed
a
them in the
microphone would block
new
the
version,
view,
right,
sometimes
chat?
the camera
We
angle
watched the
just
new
never
version.
went high enough. We only got to see his face twice across the entire series. Once in the Sister Spice episode where you could briefly catch it if you had your brightness turned up all the way, and the other time, with a way better view, is in the Proud Family movie when a wave of peanut butter swept through a stadium and the camera angle shifted just enough to show his face for a split second. Both reveals were so short that the mystery stayed alive even after the movie was done. And it didn't help that creator Bruce W. Smith came out after the movie and denied it was even Wizard Kelly in that scene. Instead, he said it was his stunt double. What does a stunt double for a cartoon even mean? Let it go, bro. Some producers make characters mysterious. Slade from Teen Titans chose mystery for himself. Slade was the most terrifying and mysterious villain in Teen Titans. He wore an orange and black mask everywhere.
Yo, chat.
And Robin spent seasons of...
Okay, from my comic heads, from my nerd, wait, is Slade, oh, wait, hold on. Is Slade in the comics, is he just like Deathstroke, right?
Sing over unmasking him.
From my
But the
DC
show
goons.
never allowed it. It was like witnessing a villain get plot armor for the first time ever. In Apprentice Part 2, there was a brief shadow of his head without the mask. We saw his short, spiky hair, but nothing more. The actual reveal came in the end of Part 2, and it was not what anyone expected. A fiery enemy knocks Slade's mask off mid-fight, and underneath it is a bare skull with a single red glowing eye and a scar over the empty right socket. Because at that point in the show, Slade was technically dead, being kept together by Trigon's dark magic. So the one time we finally see his face, it's not even his real face, just bones. And how could I ever make a face reveal list without the worst baseball player ever, Bucky McBadbat? Bucky
We
is
definitely
Chester's
see his
dad in
face.
Fairly Odd
Chat,
Parents. This
I
man
remember
literally
this
wore a
seeing his
paper bag
face
over
in the
his head
episodes.
throughout the entire time
In
on
one
the show.
episode.
The reason was simple and genuinely sad. Bucky had been the worst baseball player in the history of the sport. His failures were so public and so humiliating that he couldn't bear to be recognized in public. So the bag was his way of existing in the world without the shame catching up to him. Chester grew up with a father who hid his face every single day out of embarrassment. His face was finally revealed in the Fairly Idle special when Chester used Norm the Genie to wish for his dad to be rich and famous again. Bucky became muscular, successful, and was finally able to take the bag off. But because it was Norm's magic, the wish backfired almost immediately, and Bucky lost everything, including the custody of Chester, before things went back to normal, including the bag. He couldn't face reality. The point of Chester covering his face everywhere he went was less about being mysterious and more about showing us what shame does to a person, the way it limits your growth in life. Everyone on this list had their faces hidden for a reason. Some were deliberate mysteries, some were marketing moves like Dr. Claw, some were creative choices that became accidental legends like Miss Bellum. But revealing them was almost always a losing game. Most of them lost so much aura the moment we saw what was underneath. Except Miss Bellum, who gave us almost nothing anyways, and Kenny, who at least went out saving the world, so we'll give him that one. So, would it have been better to keep them hidden? In a way, yes, but I'll rather know what they look like than spend the rest of my life imagining, so I'll take it. Anyway, do you know there's also cartoon characters that don't have their faces hidden, but you still can't truly see and understand them until you find that one episode? Horrid Henry is the perfect example, always doing horrid stuff, but out of necessity. I broke down his character properly in my video, The Episode That Explains the Horrid Henry Paradox.
Wow. Well, yeah, we might be tapping in more of his stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
I just let her go. She had all that pedigree. Yeah.